This is not just the story of a war. It is the story of skies set on fire, cities turned to ashes, and humanity pushed to the edge of extinction. From bomber crews fighting death in the clouds, to families dragged to camps where hope died in silence. World War II was a storm that reshaped the world forever. This is how that storm unfolded. 1943, Europe was still burning under Nazi control. But in the skies, a new storm was rising. From British airfields, the United States Army Air Forces prepared the boldest campaign of the war, daylight bombing deep into Germany. The weapon of choice was the B-17 Flying Fortress, a massive four-engine bomber built to strike industrial targets with precision. Every mission was a step into danger, every takeoff a question: who will return? The mission sounds glorious, but reality was brutal. These bombers flew without long-range fighter escort, exposed to flak, Messerschmitts, and deadly skies. Still, American crews climbed aboard with belief that destroying factories, oil plants, and supply lines would weaken Hitler's war machine. They knew the risks, yet they flew because every raid meant one step closer to victory. The first major test came on August 17, 1943, the Schweinfurt-Regensburg raid. Hundreds of B-17s roared across enemy territory, aiming to crush ball-bearing factories and cripple German production. But deep inside Germany, without escort fighters, the bombers became targets in open sky. Luftwaffe fighters tore into the formations, waves of attacks from every angle, turning daylight into fire and steel. American crews fought back with turret guns, but losses were devastating. Many aircraft never made it home. Others returned torn, burning, barely holding the sky together. It was a victory written in sacrifice. Factories were damaged, but the cost was brutal. Dozens of bombers lost, hundreds of airmen gone. It became clear, daylight bombing without long-range escort could not continue forever. The campaign pressed on. Munich was hit next. A long, exhausting flight into heavily defended skies. Bombs fell, factories shook, but the Luftwaffe was waiting, stronger and deadlier than before. Then came the second strike on Schweinfurt, a mission that would be remembered in history as disaster. German fighters ripped into the bomber streams like wolves among sheep. 17 out of 100 bombers were lost over Munich. Then, in the second Schweinfurt raid, out of 291 bombers, 60 were shot down, hundreds of airmen killed or captured. Squadrons returned broken, missing friends, empty spaces in mess halls. Crewmen whispered one question: how long can this continue? The message was brutal but clear: without escort fighters, the cost was unsustainable. While battles raged in the skies, another tragedy unfolded on the ground. The Holocaust reached its deadliest phase in 1943. Nazi Germany intensified extermination operations across occupied Europe. Jews were rounded up from ghettos, loaded onto cattle trains, sent to death camps like Auschwitz, Treblinka, and Sobibor. Families torn apart, children screaming, mothers begging, and the world still unaware of the true scale of horror. Yet even in the heart of darkness, resistance sparked. In April 1943, the Warsaw Ghetto rose in revolt. Starved, outnumbered, armed with smuggled pistols and homemade explosives, Jewish fighters held off German troops for weeks. It was not a battle to win, but a fight to die free. A symbol of courage against impossible odds. A flame of defiance history will never forget. By late 1943, the skies over Europe had become a graveyard of metal and fire. The Schweinfurt disasters forced commanders to rethink strategy. Daylight bombing alone could not break Germany, not without protection. A decision was made. New long-range escort fighters would join the war. The P-51 Mustang, fast, deadly, and built for distance, would soon change everything. The Allied bombing campaign would return stronger, this time not alone. Mustang escorts slashed through Luftwaffe defenses, clearing the path for bombers to strike deep into Germany. Factories, oil plants, railways, targets that once seemed unreachable were now within range. 1943 ended in blood and loss, but also in a turning tide. The war in the air was changing, and with it, the fate of World War II itself.